Just Talk Black Show. Disclosure Statement. Disclaimer. The views and opinions shared on the Just Talk Black Show are those of the hosts and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the show, its sponsors, or affiliates. This show is a space for open, honest, and respectful dialogue within the Black community. Some conversations may include sensitive topics, strong language, or personal opinions that are intended to spark thought and encourage positive change. Listener discretion is advised. All guests are responsible for the accuracy of their statements and agree to participate voluntarily. By appearing on the show, guests give permission for their audio, video, and likeness to be recorded and distributed across Just Talk Black's platforms. Let's talk real. Let's talk truth. Let's just talk Black.
Real voices, real talk. Yeah. This is the Just Talk Black Show with DJ Purpose. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. sharp. Every story, every struggle, every win we claim. We speak it loud, but respect on our name. Yeah. Let's talk black, we shine, we grow. Building up the people every Thursday on the Just Talk Black Show. From pain into pride, let the whole world know we're unfiltered, unite. Just Talk Black Show. We speak on the struggles, we celebrate with voices from the block to the boardroom within. Our stories connect us, it's deeper than chat. It's love, it's respect. Just Talk Black Show. Just Talk Black Show. Say it loud, let's talk black. Just Talk Black Show. Rise together, let's talk black show. Yeah. Just Talk Black Show. Oh yeah. Just Talk Black Show.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Just Talk Black Show. And if you're in the chat, just say hi. Let me just see you say hi if you're in the chat today. And a big shout out if you are new and it's your first time ever on the Just Talk Black Show. I'd like to welcome. I'm your host, DJ Purpose, for today, and welcome to the Just Talk Black Show. This is where we have many different conversations regarding many different topics. And if you didn't tune in last week, we were talking about church hurt and healing, and what a conversation that was with Joshua. If you haven't seen that, you can catch that on our YouTube channel, so just type in Just Talk Black Show and you will get there. So guys, if you are new for the first time, let me see you say in the chat you are new. This is your first time ever watching the Just Talk Black Show. And guys, I just want to quickly go into who we will be having on next week on the Just Talk Black Show. So I will just bring that up for you and what we will be talking about on the next week show.
I used to hide. Now I speak to heal.
You're helping more than you know.
We need to talk about this just together.
So guys, this topic, oh my gosh, this will be a definitely topic to tune in for next week, Thursday. Don't worry that it says Sunday. We have changed the date to Thursday. So this is the Thursday live at 7 p.m. So we will be talking about living with HIV, from the stigma to the strength, a conversation that the Black community need to have. And today we have a special guest on the show, on the Just Talk Black Show. The first time appearance for her on the Just Talk Black Show. So today we are talking about step parenting and blending families together. How can we do that as a community? How can we bring two separate families and blend them to become that perfect family together? So I'm gonna bring my guest in. I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit about herself.
Hi, my name is Tola Onigbanjo, and I am an author, I'm a mentor, I am a founder of Women for Africa, and I'm also a coach. I do wear many hats, but today I'm wearing the hat when it comes to step parenting because that's what my book is about.
So let's start with your first, because you said you wear many hats. Just tell us like 3 of those hats that you actually do.
Well, like I said, I am a mentor. I do mentor. I mentor young people mostly. And I am a visibility coach. So I do coach people to show up and be visible. I have this saying, let them know you exist, and they can't see what you're not showing them. So I coach people to show up online, most especially, and be visible, whether it's with their brand, their products, or their goods. And then I have been in the entertainment, especially the African entertainment industry, for over 15 years now, always promoting and pushing artists, and just encouraging especially a lot of upcoming artists, which is something that I like to do.
So let's touch on, let me just bring your book in here. Let me just show the audience your book. So this is your book that you have written. Can you just tell us a little bit about the book? Let's start off with your book, and why did you choose why did you choose the title as well?
I decided to write the book shortly after I got married to my husband. When I got married to my husband, I had two boys, and my husband had a daughter. And then we got together, and we have two together. So I'm a mother of 5, a grandmother of 4. I think raising my boys myself, doing a lot of stuff myself, and then having somebody come into my life, it was different. It was different. And I've been in the church a very long time. And one of the things I used to say is that we have a lot of single seminars, we have a lot of marriage seminars in the church, but we don't have single with kids seminars. And there are a lot of mothers, single mothers with children, that do want to get married. And it's really something that we need to know about: how to navigate, how to handle certain things, how to deal with conflict, how to discipline, especially when we're coming into a relationship with children. And I remember going on Amazon and ordering some step parenting books, but they weren't answering the questions that I wanted answers to. And me and my husband, we've done a pretty good job because, he's also in the church. So we navigated things very well. It's, our family is very well blended. And I think for me, I couldn't find that book that I was looking for. So I decided to become a book for other people. So I called it Steps because I think when people hear step parenting, it's kind of like they're taking a step back from what they need to be doing. And I say, remove the steps from step parenting and just parent. Parent that child as though that child is your own. It's not going to be easy, but parent that child as though that child is your own. So don't take a step back. Don't take a step out. Just parent. Just be that parent.
Wow. That is deep, 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 deep topic today. I'm telling you, this topic, I am so excited to speak about this topic. It's something that when I was speaking to you personally before, it's something that I need help with. I'm a single guy, they say it's a high percentage of when people do get back with other people. There's a percentage, I can't remember the percentage, 47% or something like that they were saying, that people with other kids now, where they're becoming blended family. So let's talk about it. Let's dive deep into this right now. So what does step parenting mean to you beyond just that title?
For me, it means being present. It means being present as a parent. I don't see my husband's daughter as my stepchild. I see her as my daughter. I'm present when I need to be present as a parent to her as I am with my own children. That's the way I see it. If she picks up the phone and calls me now and says, Auntie, I need this, as long as I have it, she's getting it. That's what I do for my children. And I see her as my child. I don't see her as my stepchild. So for me, step parenting means being present. Being present.
And what's one of like the biggest challenge? Let's go straight into that. What's one of the biggest challenging of step parents that you had to coach somebody on, sort of thing? What sort of struggles were they doing?
I always tell people that my husband said to me that he would never have married me if my boys were rude. And I didn't have a problem with that because he fell in love with me. He didn't fall in love with my children. That's a process. And he wants to have a life that he can have with me and vice versa, that we can have that is stress free as much as it can be and trouble free. Now, when you're having to deal with children that are rude, who wants to take on that responsibility? So, I mean, I applauded him for saying that and being honest and open about that. If my boys were rude, he would not have married me because he probably didn't want to take on any form of drama or anything like that that might come, because I came as a package. Let's be real here. You know, I didn't come as a single woman. I came with two boys. I came as a package. He's accepting the package, but he wants to make sure that the package he's accepting is a package he can deal with. He probably can't deal with rude children, so he was upfront about that in the first place. So I thank God that, you know, my boys are polite and, you know, they were not rude, so we didn't have problems with that. I think some of the things that I wrote about in my book was because I've raised my sons by myself for so
Yeah.
long, having somebody else come into the picture now and is trying to help you with things, because you're not necessarily seeing it as help. You're probably seeing it as your parenting skills being challenged
Oh,
because you've
come
done
on.
it for so
Come on.
long by yourself.
Yeah.
Why would this person need to come and tell me to do that? And I gave an example. I said, if I'm used to tying my son's shoelaces from he's a toddler, I'm still tying his shoelaces as he's a 3 year old, still tying them as a 6 year old. And my husband comes in and sees and says, why don't you just teach him to tie his shoelace?
Come on. This is
Tendency
it.
for me
Yeah.
to, who are you to tell me what to do? This is something I've been doing.
Yeah.
But you're not realizing that he's actually trying to help you, because if you now teach your son how to tie his shoelace, you no longer have to help him tie his shoelace, and you're giving him a bit of, you know, a bit of independence in that area. You're helping him as well. But I think as parents, we can get so used to doing stuff that we don't even realize that there comes a time where they now need to be doing that for themselves. I can't be a parent that is cooking for my children as they're teenagers and then in their early 20s, I'm still cooking for them and I'm not teaching them how to cook. So when they
Yeah.
leave home and they go to their own house, how are they going to be eating? Is it going to
Yeah.
be takeaway? So there comes a time when I'm going to have to now start showing them what to do without having to do it for them, so they can now start doing it and gaining that little bit of independence. So I think sometimes we have to realize that we're not necessarily being challenged. You know, this person is actually helping us to see what we haven't been looking at, because we're just so used and we're in this routine of doing things the way that we're doing it. And we're happy to continue with that.
So I want to touch on that right there. I want to touch on that because that's important. That especially for a guy, I'm going to speak for my like personal experience, going into a relationship and now you are trying to help the lady that you're dealing with, and you might give an advice, and then as you were just saying, who are they to give you that advice? You've been growing up your child. How can somebody deal with that from a man's point of view, or for a woman's point of view? How can we negotiate around that point?
Well, I'm not going to lie and say that it's easy. Step parenting really does require wisdom. It actually requires a lot of wisdom, because, and I say that, you know, like I've been in the church for a very long time. So I had to have guidance when it came to step parenting, because there's be times where you just want to flare up into an argument. And, you know, sometimes you just need the Holy Spirit to keep you in check, because it
Mm,
doesn't have to be an argument, you know. And I think the wisdom that you receive is what helps you in in those kind of situations. I said to I wrote it in my book. I said, when my husband's daughter used to come around and spend time with us at weekends and during holidays, if I noticed that maybe there was something that she was doing that she shouldn't have been doing, I didn't automatically just go in and start correcting her or telling her off. I would mention it to my husband and then get him to address it,
mm,
because she's not yet used to me. And, you know, like I'm not going to be that where she gets back to her mum's house and says, oh, auntie doesn't like me, or auntie told me off, and that kind of thing. She has to be used to me first. When she's used to me, then if I'm correcting her, she's not seeing it as I'm picking on her or I don't like her, because we've already established a relationship. She's not going to have that with her dad, because that's her dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I used to get him to deal with anything that needed to be dealt with until she now became used to me. And as she became used to me and close to me, and we became very close, then I'm able to now correct her on some things. And I believe that that's really how it should be. And sometimes it can take time for them to get used to. It's not as quick as it is for everybody. You have to build that relationship, develop that relationship, because you have to remember, with some children, they're very territorial when it comes to their parents.
Yeah.
No matter how good the other person is, they're still very territorial over their parents. I remember that there would be times me and my husband will be sat on the sofa watching maybe a movie and that kind of thing, just sat together on the sofa, and his daughter will come and put herself right in the middle, more leaning towards her dad. And I would allow her to do that,
Yeah.
because it's, I'm not there to take your dad away from you. And I needed her to feel comfortable with me, that I'm not there to take her dad. So I'm not going to say, you can't sit there, or there's space over there. I'm going to allow her so that she can feel that that's still her dad. You still have that closeness with your dad. I mean, obviously I'm married to the guy, so I don't need to be in competition with a child over. So I allow her to do that until she got used to it. She knew that that's my dad. Then we didn't have that problem anymore.
So how,
And it wasn't a problem.
go on, sorry. No, go on.
Yeah. No, so I said, and it wasn't even a problem anyway. You just have to understand that children can be territorial over their parents.
Yeah. And what's some of the ways that we can start building the relationship up with these kids? How do we start? What should it be? Should it be a one-on-one session where you take them out alone, or should it be, how should we do it? What's the ways that we can break that ice?
I would say you might ask a child, okay, let's go out for a one-to-one, and they might not want to, but then don't stop there. As they're seeing more of you, as they're getting used to you more, you can have that conversation again. Would you like to go out for a meal? Just me and you, let's spend some time together, and try and get to know the child. Try and get to find out things about them that they like, even if it's from the other parents, so that you can now do something that surprises them. Oh, how did you might be with somebody and the son supports Arsenal or any of those teams, and then you decide to buy him the next kit that's out, and that wows that child, just things like that. But it's really about building those relationships. It's the same as any relationship that you go in, whether you're a man-woman relationship, you see a woman that you like, or you see a guy that you like, and you're trying your best to do what you can in that relationship to make the other person happy and to please the other person. So you do little things that they might not expect, whether it's getting flowers or getting chocolates and things like that. And it should be like that with the child. You're trying to build a relationship. You're trying to get to know them a bit better. You just do certain things. And even if you feel a pushback, it shouldn't push you back.
Yeah.
Allow them to get comfortable with you. And in getting comfortable with you, they might have to do some pushbacks, thinking you're too much in my space, or I don't want that from you, kind of thing. You have to give them time to get used to you, because they have to know that you're not there to replace the parent that's not there. You're not there to replace the parent. They still have, especially when they still have a relationship with the other parent, you're not there to replace. You're just there to add value. You're just there to just be somebody extra that they have. So instead of looking at it like you only have two parents, look at it like you have three now. So I'm here for you as well. As much as you want me to be, I'm going to be there for you. So, with pushbacks, don't allow yourself to be pushed back in that this child doesn't want to know me, so I'm staying away. Like, allow them to grow to accept you.
So let's touch on that topic of, because you said the part where ask their parents what they like to do and those sort of stuff. Now, if you have a partner and that other partners of the daughter, say for example, the daughter and the mum don't like you, how do we deal with that situation where the other parent is being very difficult and just causing a lot of dramas?
I would say allow the partner. Okay, so if you have, let's say, Okay, so let's say my husband, let's say if my husband's daughter's mum was now being difficult, I would have to let my husband handle that situation because she is still the mother of his daughter. She's still the mother of his child. So no matter how it might be, I mean, let's say she's. I mean, I have a good relationship with with
Yeah.
my stepdaughter's mum anyway. So we don't have that. But yeah, when I tell people, like they're like, really, and I'm like, yeah.
You're
But
lucky. You're very
but if
lucky.
I yeah, if but let's say we didn't have that relationship and she was always somebody that, maybe she might tell, my stepdaughter to, or, like she might say things about me to my stepdaughter, and then she comes and she might be, oh, mommy says you're this, this, this. I wouldn't now say to her, well, your mummy is this, this, and if she's wrong, and I wouldn't have that. I would go to my husband and get my husband to address it because she's not going to be saying that about him. The problem usually is not with their partner, it's with who the partner is with, even if they don't even talk or anything. So allow the partner to address that. You just be who you need to be with that child. That child is just doing what they feel they should be doing and behaving in a way that they feel they should be,
Yeah.
and give that time. So as the husband is dealing with that partner, and trust your partner, even if it's the woman, trust that your partner, the man, or if you're the woman, your husband is going to put certain things in place, that will protect you as well as he's dealing with with that kind of thing. So yeah, it's gonna take a lot of conversations that you probably might have to have over a period of time, but trust that your partner is going to have your back in that situation and will put things in place that obviously protects you as well and lets you know that he's handling the situation, but allow him or her to handle the situation rather than you try to. Because if they're already not feeling you, there's nothing that you're going to do or say that's going to make them. So
Yeah.
it's better to let the partner handle that.
Yeah. I want to bring it back a little bit because we went straight deep into it. So I want to just touch back on it. So at the start, there should be a process of a conversation when the two people are getting together with two different kids. What are some of the what should that conversation look like that you should have with your partner about the kids before you even meet the kids and stuff, and see if you two are compatible and agree on how to bring these kids up in a household? What's that conversation should look like? Because there's many people out there that are gonna go into a relationship who are single and meet someone. There should be a conversation about the kids, and most people don't. They just said, oh, how old is your kid, and that's it, and they just try to work it out however it should be. But there should be a conversation
Yeah,
of what you
absolutely.
expect from your partner, and how, if your partner's going to back you if something happens. Because all right, I'm going to give you a situation. I've been in a situation where, say for example, no, so I've been in a situation where I've not been backed. So where someone's kid was rude to me, I have not been backed at all. So how do we have that conversation from the very get-go when we meet someone about their kids?
I mean, it's definitely a conversation that has to be had when you're talking about step parenting, blended families, because you're coming together and children are already in the picture. It's not like you're coming together as two singles and then you're going to start having children together. So I think that it's so important that you have those conversations. But before you even have those conversations, I expect that you have an understanding, or you know a bit more about each other and the way that you both were raised, because sometimes the way that we're raised is the way that we're now planning on raising our children. And when it comes to a step parenting situation, you want to apply that even when it comes to the stepchildren. So I think having an understanding of how the both of you were raised, and what things that you stand for, what things you don't stand for, you know, in the way that you were raised, or things that you didn't like about that you were raised. And those are not the things that I'm not gonna. You might get together and you might decide, I don't smack my children, And the other person might say, well, there's nothing wrong with a little smack if they're being naughty. So I think having that conversation so that you know where each person stands, and then you come to agree on it before you even start to talk about the children, is important. When it comes to talking about the children, get to know each other's children even before you meet. I mean, we're in a society now where back in my days, we didn't hear words like autism, dyslexia, ADHD, SEN. Those words didn't exist back then. And you have to remember, now we have a lot of children that are autistic, that do have ADHD and different things. So we can't always put a behavior down to bad behavior if they have certain, let's say, certain conditions, or they're on the spectrum and things like that. So talk and be as open and as honest as you can about your children with each other. So when you're asking questions about each other's children, is there anything that I should know about your children? So that you have an understanding, and then things that you might not understand, you might start to research on, so that you can see how to handle a child that has, maybe a special need or a certain disability and that kind of thing. So I think that is something that you work together on. There's nothing wrong with asking your partner, is your child very defensive? Is your child very argumentative? If it's older children, is your child, very protective over you? So that you have that understanding. And then you can ask, okay, so how do you deal with your child? If your child is, very argumentative, how do you deal with that child? And just see how that person deals with, and see whether it's the way that you would deal with that child. And then you can have those discussions and try and come up with maybe some scenarios of, okay, if this happened, how would you deal with it? And then you ask your partner, how would you deal with it as well? And see whether you're going to be on the same page, because you want to be on the same page. Okay, if a child is rude to your partner, how would you like your partner to respond? And I think having these conversations beforehand, will help. Because if you say, okay, then we always have to be on the same page when it comes to the children, because I'm aware that one child might try to pit the other parent against the other one. You don't want that. And always be on the same page. So even when you're having, so you have a child that your stepchild might be more closer to you than the parent, because they know that, okay, if I ask my mum or my dad, can I go out later, they're going to say no. But if I ask my stepmom or my stepdad, they're going to say, okay, yeah, allow her to go, and that kind of thing. So they might come and ask you and you say yes, whereas they've already gone to ask the parent and the parent has said no. So you always try and see, okay, have you asked your mum or have you asked your dad, and what have they said? And then say, okay, we're going to have a discussion and we'll see how it goes, rather than just say yes and then they go running back to the other parent. Well, mum said yes, I can go, so I'm going, or dad said that I can go, so I'm going. So you always want to make sure that you're on the same page when it comes to dealing with certain things. And I say discipline is one of them. Discipline is something that you have to get right and be on the same page, so that you don't have any arguments in that department.
Wow, definitely. I just want to say just quickly to everybody out there, if you are, you can absolutely ring in. The phone number is 07471 539 533. So the phone number is for you to call in. And if you've got any questions that you want to ask, we can get it up also in the chat. So the phone number is, I'm waiting because it is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, guys. If you can see the screen, it's going to be right there at the bottom of the screen. So it's 07471 539 533. And also you can put your comments in the chat. If you are on YouTube, you can see a box where it says comment, and you can put your text in there and we can absolutely bring it on screen. So guys, please also, if you are new, like and subscribe to the channel. When you like this channel, what it does, it pushes it out to many people. This is a conversation that the Black community must have. We need to have these conversations. There's many of us who are single and are looking to go into a blended family. So guys, if you do have any question, it's that time that you can ring in. So let's go back to the questions again, because I want to touch on another topic which is inside this topic, is where you mentioned that say for example, my partner's got a kid and I've got a kid. Now, my kid is behaving in a way, and her kid is behaving in a way, but I might tell her kids off. She feels that I'm picking on her kid. How can we deal with that when your partner feels that you're just picking on their kid because it's not your kid?
Okay, but you just said something. You said your kid is behaving a particular way, her kid is behaving a particular way, and you tell off her kid. Why have you not told off your kid though?
That's true. That's true. All right, let's
Because
put it.
I
Let's put
think
it.
if both kids are behaving a particular way, then you can address both of them. Then you're not picking on one child.
So let's take away, say my kid's not being naughty and it's just her kid being naughty, but she feels like you're just having a go at him. You're just always having a go at him when you're not.
Because remember what I said though? I said when it came to my husband's child, I would speak to him and allow him to address the situation. I wouldn't. So that way, she can't turn around and say, Auntie's picking on her or Auntie
Mm,
doesn't like her because Auntie never addressed the situation until Auntie had established a close relationship with her. By the way, we allow our children to call each other auntie. We've left it to our children to call us whatever they choose to because the other parents are still in their life. So it's not a case that she has to call me mum because I'm her stepmom. It's left to them what they choose to call, me or my husband and that. But so like I said, so I would allow the parent to deal with that. And I wouldn't necessarily bring it up there and then when something has happened. It would probably be when it's a calmer evening, maybe the kids are not around, and then I'll just have that conversation and then allow him to address it. And I might even suggest how I feel he should go in. Somebody said children are not
children are not
kids.
kids.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, so I might offer some suggestions as well, as to how to go
Let's look at
about
this one.
dealing with, yeah.
Okay, you can't pick and choose. I think that's what I was saying, what you were saying in it when I was saying that. That's to be equal discipline. 100% agree with that. But say like, so what is, so basically we can't say nothing. We should always go through the other parents first. Is that what you're saying? Until
I
we
would say
build that
until you've
relationship,
established, yes, until
that
you've
relationship.
established that relationship, because you don't want them to take it as though they feel they're being picked on or they feel you don't like them. If they don't have that relationship, that's what's going to happen. Like I said, they won't feel that way about their parent, even if
Mm,
their parent is the one always telling them off. They're not going to feel, oh, my dad doesn't like me or my dad hates me, because they already have that relationship with their mum or their dad. So when they're telling them off, they just see they're being told off for what they've done. But when it's you, it can now seem as something different because that relationship has not been built up yet. The moment that relationship is built up, then they don't take it as being picked on. It's now, okay, they're doing what mum or dad is doing. They're correcting me or I'm being told off because I've done something.
yeah. Can you see that question?
Yes. I feel I would prefer them to call me what they feel comfortable with. And like I said, my stepdaughter has her mum. Her mum is in her life. My boys, they have relationships with their dad, so we allow them to call them what they choose. And I think that for me stemmed off when I was growing up, because I grew up with my dad. My mum didn't live with us in UK, but she would come over, and when she comes over from Nigeria, she'll spend time with us because she's still married to my dad, so they're still together. But they had an agreement. She would look after her mum in Nigeria and come over. So when my dad did have somebody else, we were now made to call that person mum. And I didn't like the fact that I had to call someone mum because my mum was still alive. She was still coming over to see us, and we didn't like it, but we had to. It was something that we were told that we had to do, and so we had to call her mum. And she wasn't even behaving like a mum anyway. But I didn't like that, and for the fact that I didn't like that, I knew that it was not going to be something that I was going to. I mean, if any, I mean, my friends know when they come to occasions or if they're at birthday parties or anything, and my son's giving speech, like he will refer to my husband as his stepdad, his dad, how he chooses. But when he's calling him, he will call him Uncle Debo, like, and we're okay with that.
Yeah.
We're okay with that. It's not what I'm being called that's important. It's me being present and being that parent that I should be. That's more important to me.
It's about building that bond, that relationship, which is important. So what we're going to do, we're going to quickly go for a quick advertisement break, and then we're going to come back on the other side. So guys, please subscribe and please like the channel. On the other side, the phone lines will be open again, so you guys can call in and put your answers and questions in the chat also.
Yes, big up to DJ Purpose. What a show we had the other day. I really appreciate you having me on your show. The Talk Black Show. Listen, guys, you have to subscribe to this channel, guys. It is doing bits. Yeah, talking about black culture, business, mental health, the whole thing. My guy, DJ Purpose, is tackling these subjects that may be taboo to people. But guys, you're doing a great job, DJ Purpose. Keep doing what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Hit him up on the Talk Black Show. Hit that like button, subscribe to him. This guy's going places. Take care.
Just Talk Black. Hi, my name is Jenny Ramos. I am a soul jazz singer, and I am also an abstract portrait artist. I had my interview with the Just Talk Black show, and I loved it. I had the pleasure of being in that show, and can I just say, I was very well received. The host was spectacular. He asked the right questions, interesting questions. That got me thinking a little bit. It was an experience. I liked it. So if you're someone who is a business owner, if you're someone who's an entrepreneur, trying to do something for yourself, trying to promote your business, your product, hit them up. You won't regret it. See ya.
For a limited time, 10 Black-owned businesses can promote their brand on the Just Talk Black Show absolutely free.
Yo, got a Black-owned business? It's time to shine with Just Talk Black Show. This is Just Talk Black, where we speak truth and lift the Black community. Apple's your brand on the Just Talk Black Show. Make it loud, make it bold. Call DJ Purpose, let the story unfold on yours. 747-153-9533. 539-5333. 539-5333. 539-5333. This is Just Talk Black Show.
And yes, guys, as we come back over the advertisement break, please call in. If you do have any questions, come on, guys, you can literally ask a question. Don't be shy. Today, we do have a giveaway. We do have the book here, guys. So for the first caller who calls in, you can win this book today. Just all you have to do is call in and ask a question. Simple as that, guys. I'm not going to make it hard in any way. This will get posted out to you ASAP to your address. It's a book that you must have. Definitely a must-have book if you are a single person, or even if you have a blended family. It's a book that you must start reading, guys. So that number for the call-in number is 07471539533. Guys, please do subscribe, do like the channel. Let's get those likes up, guys. Let's get those likes up in the chat. So let's touch him back. What's one of the healthiest way couples can introduce their children to their new partner?
I would probably say maybe find an activity that you can probably all do together, or I would say like a team activity. So let's say you went bowling and then you mix up the teams. So it wouldn't be one parent and their kids on one team and the other parent and their kids. You now mix up the team. So find an activity that they probably would enjoy doing. It could be a team activity where you mix the teams. And you know, like children, they like to be competitive. So they're all about winning. So they'll be a good team player. I would suggest that.
That is definitely a good way to definitely do that. I think it's a timing process. It's a timing process. And is it one of those things that you both have to discuss when the right time is? And is it that as well, can people look for a counselor in this as well if they are struggling in this sort of area, would you say?
I would say yes, they can. I would probably as well, like have the conversation with your partner as to when you think the children are ready, because I would assume that you've already told the child that you've met somebody and you're going to be introducing them soon. So that child is aware. It's not just going to just happen and they show up and then you say this is, so you've already been having that conversation. So they might already be asking you questions, what's the person like, what's she like, or what's he like, and what do they do, and do they have children already, how old are they? So they're already finding out information and that kind of thing. And maybe ask that child when they feel they'll be ready, especially when it's children that are slightly older. When will they be ready? They might be excited and want to, and then you can do it over the activity as well, so they can see the fun side to, because then you're playful when you're doing things like bowling and that kind of thing. It's a playful activity, so they see everyone in their playful element. You're winning, everyone, and you know how you are on teams. When you're winning, you do the high five, or like, so it's that kind of thing. So but I would say yes. And it might not be a counselor. You might want to introduce them with, maybe have somebody that they are close with, somebody that, it could be an aunt and uncle that they like and they're very close with, and you could introduce them with that person as well, so that they feel comfortable. So it could actually be a few of you. And yeah.
So if somebody is struggling, because let's talk about someone who's really in it and in this position but is struggling. What's the steps that they can take to start healing this process of the blended family? Because they're struggling in it, there's argument going on in the household. And I know you said some tips already, but from a person who is absolutely struggling this, what's some of the tips that they can take away today from you?
Well, I would say that as a step parent, you don't have to know it all, and you're not going to know it all. Every child is different. So you might have a friend, or you might have somebody that that is going through the whole blended family thing, and they are excelling in it. They're doing a fantastic job. They're getting on with their children, and you're wondering why it's not working for you. It's going to be different. Every child is different. Every relationship is different. Every situation is different. I would say you just have to be yourself. Remember that you have a lot of love to give. Always tell yourself, I have a lot of love to give. And that's what you want to give to this person. That's what you want to give to this family. That's what you want to give, to this child. You have a lot of love to give. It doesn't necessarily mean that the love is going to be accepted, but you just be you and have that love to give. You've seen adult relationships that it starts off with a lot of love, and then somebody decides it's not working, they're going. So it happens with adults, it can happen with children, but just do the best that you can. And just with prayer, I always say, don't omit prayer, with prayer, because prayer can change things. Just with prayer, just be patient and just apply wisdom to any situation that you're in. But just have a lot of love to give and just keep giving that love. It might not be reciprocated, but you know what? The Bible does say love never fails. After a while, you will see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah. Let's go into this question here. I think that parents should be... What would you say to that one?
Well, I would probably say, I mean, if I'm talking from like a married perspective, I would probably say that that relationship would have need to be sorted before you even get married, because it's very hard to walk away from a marriage when you're in a marriage situation and that's your husband or that's your wife. I would say that that relationship with the children should already be sorted before it even gets to the altar. And if it's not working, it depends. It depends on you and your partner. How long are you willing to try to see if it can work? Because not every child is going to start adjusting straight away, but the relationship can be built over time. It's how long you are willing to give it a shot. And as long as the relationship is not an unhealthy one, if the relationship is unhealthy and there are problems, there are issues, then maybe you might have to definitely consider, is this really going to work? Because nobody wants to be with a partner that is not getting on with their child, is not trying to make an effort to get along with their child, or they're clashing. There's too much clashing. If you're clashing a lot, then there is a problem. If your child and your partner are clashing a lot, then there will be a problem. But I've seen some people, they've actually stayed, they've actually stuck, and it has not been pleasant. The relationships have not, continued to be how they should be, and they have walked away, and those are marriage relationships. But I think if it's not working, then yeah, it's not working, because you have to be happy. You at the same time, you want to be happy.
Yeah,
Yes, that's true. Yes, and parenting is not everyone's thing.
that's true.
Parenting is not everyone's thing.
Oh, then we've got a caller. Let's see. Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, can you hear as well?
Yes, I can.
Okay, it's good. Yeah, go ahead with your
Okay.
question.
Okay, thanks for answering. Okay, so I'm the manning mode. I put the comment in about cutting relationships off and parents being willing to cut relationships off before they go any further. I wasn't referring to marriages. I think in getting to know people, if you can see that a step parent is not going to align well with your child, a potential step parent, sorry, is not going to align well with your child, or your child's not going to get on well with the extended family. I think people should be willing to just end those relationships, or not even bother to get into relationships, because it really is not worth it. And everyone is not going to be compatible for what already exists in your life. And people
Yeah.
should be very willing to just not take that any further, because a lot of times it's not worth it. There are other people. Liking someone is not enough. There are so many things, so many other things to consider and take into account. What's that person's morals and values? What are the relatives who will be feeding into the way they are as a person, potentially then feeding into what your child is exposed to? Will all of that fit in with what you want? So people should be willing to just not take things any further by first exploring all of those avenues.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. And I must say, I have met and spoken to a number of people that are in relationships, even though that was the case before, and have gone on to get married, even though that was the case in the situation. I don't think they looked at the dynamics of what was happening with the children, but they more focused on each other. And that's why I say that. I mean, I don't know if you were there at the beginning of the show, and I was saying that my husband said to me, if my kids were rude, he would never have married me. So he already knew that if it wasn't going to work and he wasn't going to get on with the boys, then he wasn't willing to enter into a marriage with me. And like you say, that for me would have been the same for me. If I couldn't
Yeah.
get on with my husband's children, I mean, obviously his daughter was young at the time, so I didn't have that problem. But you have
Yeah.
people that have older children, and if the dynamics were not going the way that they should, and I couldn't get on with the children, I would not be entering into the marriage with their dad.
Exactly. Yeah, makes sense.
Because
Uh,
I mean,
Well,
for
thank you
me,
very
I'm
much.
not a selfish person. I would think about the children as well. It's not just
Yeah.
about me and the children being rude and I can't marry because your children are rude. I still have to think about the children. The relationship they have with their dad might be great. It might be the relationship they have with me that's not great. I'm not going to now enter into a
Hmm.
marriage and continue to rock the boat, even though the boat is already being rocked. Something would have to give, and that would probably have to be me saying this is not going to work.
Yeah, and I think also people are too hasty with introducing children to potential partners. Get to know the person a lot more first,
Yes.
before even deciding. Pay pay attention to detail. How does this person treat other people? Not just how do they treat you. How do they deal with situations? Do they have children of their own? What's their role in those other people's in those children's lives, in other people's lives? How do they respond to conflict? How do they deal with tension? How do they deal with stress? You've got to look at all those other things before even considering for yourself, even if you don't have children, if you pursue a relationship with this person and what your expectations are of that person. These conversations, I don't think I hear of so many step parent relationships, blended families, and it doesn't work well because some of the basic things that you would think are being discussed at a very early stage or being paying attention to, weren't paid attention to at all. Yeah, it's really sad because the children end up suffering.
Can I quickly put something to both of you? And I want to ask you this on both a point of view. So say where the person in the chat just put, even if you were in love. So it's very difficult because if you are both in love and you're truly in love and the kid is just not willing to accept it. I remember somebody saying to me, because I was in that situation where the kid wasn't getting on with me. I couldn't put my hand up saying me and the kid wasn't getting on. But somebody said to me, and somebody said to my partner at the time, your kids will get older and grow up and get older. And when they move out and leave you, you would be by yourself. I want to put that question out now. Where this person is saying, even if you were in love, is love enough still to stay there? Or is it that you're saying because the kid is giving so much problem, we must walk away? I'm just asking, I'm just putting it out there because I believe in a sense of that kid is going to get older and they are going to move out. And then you've probably now lost that good relationship that you had with your partner where you two are getting on perfectly, but it's just the kid that is not accepting it.
Love is not always enough.
Love is not
Yes,
enough.
children do grow up. No, love is not always enough. You've got to be a parent first. And we're not speaking about, for me, I'm not referring to children who are like 18. I'm speaking about younger children who are more reliant on you as a parent. They don't have that level of independence yet. They're not looking to leave the nest in a couple of years. I'm speaking about those very dependent age groups. Love is not always enough, and love should not be the only factor on which you base relationships being healthy. If you are truly in love with someone, they will love you. They should love you enough to want to have your best interest at heart. And your best interest in that capacity also needs to include the well-being of your child. And if the relationship that you have, yes, there are going to be times where a child might not be open to you being in another relationship. And that might take a bit of, giving them time to adapt and get used to the other person. But at the same time, if it is a matter of the way in which your partner behaves and their style of parenting, the style of dealing with situations completely conflicts with who your child is, then is it really worth it? If you really do love someone, should you not also be willing to know when something might not be best? And therefore, rather than forcing it to carry on, you may be revisited at another time, maybe when the child is older. if you truly do love someone or want to be in their lives, you'll make adaptations. And sometimes the adaptations is to temporarily step away and not have a relationship right now. You can still be present in each other's lives, but it doesn't have to be a relationship where it's being brought into the home.
Okay. I want to thank you. You have won the book today. I will be sending this to you. You know, I know
But
who
you know
you are.
what? You know what I want to add to what she has said as well is that, you know, love also can be patient. So you can be in love with someone, but you can be patient and you can actually step aside and wait, because you might grow, that relationship might grow with you just being friends, and then that child now gets used to you, and then you can start to look back in that. But I would say that love also has a patient side to it, and sometimes we need to be patient. I wouldn't go with everyone saying, oh, but they're going to get older and they're going to flee the nest and you're going to be alone. You still have to parent your child regardless, right up until they flee that nest. And you can't parent them if there's conflict in the home, if there's conflict with the partner, because that child has to, by the time that child leaves the home, you want that child to be able to navigate a relationship, whether it's a blended family or not, and based on what they have learned from you and what you have shown them. So even if they end up being a single parent and then they're now entering into a step family situation, you want them to be able to know, well, it didn't work because the child was not accepting, and they can be also be able to follow that example that you've shown them, that love can be patient. If this thing is meant to be, it will be. But for now, we might need to take a step back until we can effectively parent the children and all that conflict is not there.
Absolutely.
All right. I want to thank you for phoning in. I will be sending this book off to you. Definitely thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that was an interesting one, actually. Very interesting one. Let's see what the next one is. Most of the adjustments should be done by you. It's it's a hard one. Sometimes love, I think what she was saying, basically stepping out of the house and not being so much present in the house, can that work? Or is it a timing that has to be? Because it's all about timing in this whole situation. What I'm seeing from the whole conversation, it's about that timing of introducing and getting it right. And as you said, you have to have that patience, that kindness, that loving, that endurance to do what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think it should be rushed. I don't think introducing your children to your new partner should be rushed. I think you yourself have to even be sure that this is the right person for me. You know, I made sure that I knew that my husband was somebody that I could see myself with, and we were going to be in a relationship that was probably going to lead to marriage before I introduced my boys. Because I'm not going to be in a relationship and then 2-3 months down the line it's broken down, and then that person is now out of their life, and then I'm introducing someone else. So I had to be sure for myself before I was going to introduce him to my boys, so that they're getting used to this person. It's a person that they're going to get used to, and it's a person that they're going to see here for a very long time. So I don't think there should be a rush. Absolutely not. Probably the conversations that you're having, as you know, as in a relationship, can be talking about your children, talking about the things that your children, you know, those are conversations you could be have that makes them eager to want to meet them when that time is right, because now they know a bit about them, and then the moment they meet them, they can see certain behaviors or certain habits that they have that you've spoken about, so they're recognizing it because, you know, they already know a bit about that child. But there never needs to be a rush.
There's an old Jamaican saying. Okay. I think so. So just going back to
that one, accept the cow, accept the calf. It doesn't always happen at the same time, though. It doesn't always happen at the same time.
That's right. I just want to touch on your book because you're bringing out 2 books. Can you just tell us about your 2 books that you're going to bring out? Let the audience know about your 2 books.
Okay, 1 second. Can you just mute me a minute, please?
Hold on, I can do that. Hold on 1 minute.
Because this.
Go ahead, you're muted now. So I just want to quickly say, anybody out there, please, if you have a phone call, phone in. Come on, guys, phone in. And it's good to see you guys in the chat. Definitely appreciate you guys who are putting your questions in the chat. Keep it up, keep it up, keep on putting your question there, and like the channel, push it up. Hit that like, subscribe button as well. Hit that like button, guys. Come on, when you hit that like button, it pushes the channel out to so much people. This is a conversation that we need to have as a black community. These are the struggles that many of us who are going to be facing this trouble. If you are single and looking at to be in a relationship, are you going to meet someone with kids? How do you deal with this situation? This is what we're talking about today. Are you ready to come back? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, okay. Just tell us about your two books, because we were speaking before the show started, and I want the audience to know about your two books that you're bringing out, and why are you bringing out these two books?
Okay, so the two books. One's titled "Conversations with My Teenage Girls," and the other one's titled "Conversations with My Teenage Boys." I'm bringing them out because speaking with a lot of parents and what they are going through with their teenagers, I decided to help them out. And I always say to people, if you want to know why a young person has done what they have done, ask them. They're the only people that can tell you. So I asked a number of questions and I put it together in a book so that it can help parents to understand why they do what they do, what drives them to do what they do. So I have, I have chapters titled "Why I Lie." So a teenager will tell you why you lie, basically, because sometimes we don't want to hear the truth, isn't it? So if you ask your daughter, are you having sex? You don't want to hear her say yes, do you? So she'll tell you no. And she'll say it's because you don't like to hear the truth. So I've touched on a few things in the books, and yeah, that's it basically. It's to help the parents, aunties, uncles, grandparents, just to understand what goes on in the hearts and minds of teenagers.
So, guys, that's the two books. Where can they follow you Where can they follow you? Instagram, LinkedIn.
Instagram, I'm Steps at Tola Onigbanjo. That's the title of my book, Steps by Tola Onigbanjo, my name. I'm also on there as Tola Onigbanjo as well. And then my other books that are coming out, they'll be launched next week. The handle is Conversations Book Series.
That's good. Let's just touch on boundaries, because we haven't touched on boundaries. What boundaries should be set? Because there needs to be a boundary. I know you were talking about your husband saying his kids were rude, he wouldn't tolerate it. But what are some of the boundaries that should be set in some of these situations?
I think you need to have discussions around, obviously, discipline and things like that, because discipline styles and especially cultures as well. I mean, even though myself and my husband were Nigerian, I mean, he schooled back in Nigeria a bit. I was born and raised here. He was born here, but schooled a bit in Nigeria. And obviously it's different there, so he has like a military style discipline approach and I have the softer approach. So we discuss things like that, and we discuss the ways that we were brought up as well, and the things that we wouldn't do based on the way we were raised, and the things that we would and how we would deal with discipline. But we always make sure that we're on the same page. So it's not a case of, oh, I'm going to take so and so's phone and then I'm saying, no, you can't take their phone and that kind of thing. We agree on what we're going to do, and I think it's important that those discussions are had so that you are on the same page when it comes to things like that, and you're in agreement as well. There's always going to be one parent that's softer than the other, and that gives more leeway, but it doesn't mean that, you go against the other parents. Sometimes you might need to sit down and compromise and, or just, be in agreement, basically.
Let's just touch on this, because someone talked about jealousy. What about jealousy? I don't know. Can you put in the chat when they're talking about jealousy?
It depends, because so man in mode, so jealousy in what way? Jealousy between children or partner towards the child.
Let's talk about siblings, like if they're jealous about each other. How
I
can that
think
be
you have
managed?
to try and avoid that as much as you can. And like I said, like with my stepdaughter, I made sure I parented her exactly the same way I parented my children. So if birthdays, I'm always doing a birthday celebration for my children, I'd make sure she had a birthday celebration as well when it was her birthday. And when she comes around, she experiences exactly what everyone else is experiencing. There's no, okay, you have control of the TV because it's your house, and then she doesn't because she's only here at weekends. No, everyone is getting treated the same way. She has as much control over the TV when she's here as you that has always lived here. And I
Yeah.
think you have to do that so that you try and avoid that. You try and avoid one child feeling they're getting more attention than the other, or because I don't live with my dad and I only go over at weekends, I don't get as much attention, or like that kind of thing. And yeah, just try and do stuff where they're all in it together.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes, like I said, it depends on, like I say, every individual is different, every relationship is different. And like I gave that example at the beginning when I said, when I used to sit down and watch TV with my husband,
Yeah.
you know his daughter at the time, I mean, she was only young, she'll come and plonk herself right in the middle of us,
Mm.
more towards her dad, as if to say, that's my dad, like kind of thing. And I would allow her to, because like I say, children can be territorial when it comes to their parent. And I didn't want her in any way to feel that I'm taking her dad away from her, so I allowed her to do that. Where you might get some parents that they might have a problem with that, they might have a problem. They might see their child, they might have their stepchild come over, and the stepchild is always, oh, dad, can you do this? Oh, dad, can you do that? And, that kind of thing. And, and then that parent is now feeling that the husband or the wife is giving too much attention, to their own child, and always letting that child have a way. And that's how those kind of jealous things can creep in. But I think sometimes, like I said, wisdom needs to be applied, because you have to see, is this child feeling that, they're losing that closeness or that bond with their parents, so they're trying to do everything to make sure, even if they are doing a bit too much, but to make sure it's still there. And when you recognize those things, don't have a problem with it. You are with your partner is with you. You have that. So that time the child comes over, allow them to have as much as they can, because they are going back home eventually. So as much as they can, allow them to, because it's not all stepchildren that live with, when they come together, that live in that whole family setting. Some children still live with the other parent and are only there weekends or holidays. So you try to make them feel as comfortable and as close to their parent as they can.
Someone's asking, where can we purchase that's your book?
It's on Amazon. It's on
Amazon.
Amazon. Yes.
Is that the new book coming out, or is it come out yet? The new book, the two books?
The new book will be out next week Friday when it's launched. So from next week Friday, it'll be available, the new books.
And it will be on Amazon.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get myself 2 of those books. Definitely gonna have to get 2 of those books for you. Let's talk about the next generation. What can we, as an older generation, what can we leave for the younger generation to pick up about blending family? What do we need to do as a Black community to see blended family be strong out there for the next generation? What can we do?
Be that good example. Be that good example in your blended family, so they know how to imitate exactly what they have seen and take it onto their families. And even just be able to advise maybe friends that might be in that situation, because they might not necessarily, but they might have friends in that situation. But they can always advise them based on what they have seen worked in their home, and give them some tips. So I would say, be that example.
So set that example, be the leader, be the one at the forefront who is showing what it is supposed to be like. We're coming up to the time that we're finishing off the show. I just want to leave it open to you now, just to say anything that you would like to say to the audience. Anything, could be anything that would help the audience. Let's touch on how, as well, when you're talking, if just people, I know we touched on the strugglers, so we just want to touch on that, just in case anybody new just come into the chat. So anybody struggling, I know you talked about praying, patience, but just to summarize it all up to people right now.
Summarize it.
This
How
is
can I
your
summarize
topic. This is you're specializing that topic. This is your time to tell the audience anything.
Get my book.
Definitely get your book.
apart,
Definitely get your
apart from,
book.
apart from that, I would say it's a journey. I would say it's a journey, and like when it comes to that journey, just take it one day at a time. Like I say, you don't have to know everything, but take it one day at a time. And I would say enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey as much as you can. Some people are in, like I when I on my Instagram page, I do follow other step parents or step pages, and I saw a post and it was asking, describe your relationship, like as a step parent in one word. And I commented amazing, but then I saw some that were saying horrible. Some were saying, I mean, they were describing it as, like some really negative words. And I was thinking to myself, what exactly are they going through? Or how is it, you know, or how is it that they're finding it horrible? What exactly is it? But obviously I don't know who they are, so I couldn't ask those questions. So when I'm saying it's a journey and enjoy the journey, I can only talk from how mine has been, how ours has been, because we have put in the work with prayer, like I say, and it takes a lot of wisdom. You cannot just do it just like that. It does take a lot of wisdom, and sometimes you do have to step back and look at it, from a distance, and then see, how would I navigate this situation? What would I do in this situation? What should I do in this situation? You don't always have to react there and then. Sometimes you can actually just step back and think, let me process this and then see if I can take a different approach, a more different approach. Because one thing about love is, apart from it being patient, it's like love never fails. You cannot keep on giving love and then not see something give, or not see some form of change happen. It might not be exactly how you want it, but after a while it will. Because there was somebody that was saying, it's very hard to argue with somebody that's not arguing with you. Like, when you're arguing with someone, you want them to come at you so that you can go back at them, and then what they say, you now respond to what they say. But if that person is keeping quiet, after a while you're going to have to keep quiet too, because you're going to start to feel silly just arguing with yourself.
Yeah.
And I think, like, that's why I say, like, you as an individual have a lot of love to give. So you go into that relationship telling yourself, I have a lot of love to give this individual. And sometimes you have to realize that when children are behaving a particular way, it's not always, they might be taking it out on you, but it doesn't necessarily mean you are the problem. It could be something that has happened in that child's life that has nothing to do with you, but they're venting their frustration, their anger, their hurt, their pain on you. So go into that relationship telling yourself, I have a lot of love to give, and that's what I want to do. And you just go in there and you just want to pour out that love on that child or those children, and just see what it does, the effect that it has.
Yeah. I just want to quickly just say, if anybody's out there, you want to phone in quickly, guys, we're coming up to that time that the show's coming to an end. If you do want to ask a question, I know there's a couple of people just coming to the chat as well. If you do want to ask any questions, you are able to phone in. The phone number is 07471539533. I will just leave it open for the next about 10 minutes. I'm going to give it. Let's continue on a little bit, because this is a topic that I know I'm gonna have to bring you back on, and I want to do a panel discussion on this. So I want to put it out there as well. Anybody who wants to come on the Step Parents and Blended Family panel, you can call me on the same number that is scrolling at the bottom as well. I definitely have to bring you back on the panel. This topic cannot be done on one show. Your expertise in this as well is needed. You have so much knowledge and wisdom in this that I have to bring you back on the Just Talk Black show. You are definitely must bring back, as well, for a part 2 by yourself. But I also feel that there needs to be a panel. Hold on, one person's calling. Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
Hello, yes, I can. Good evening, DJ Purpose. Well, God,
Good
this is Brother
evening.
Martin here.
How you doing?
I'm well, bro. How's it going?
It's going good. Thank you for
Yeah.
calling the Just Talk Black Show.
Okay. Is it live? Am I
It's
live?
live. You're live on.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm just coming out of a meeting, so I wasn't able to catch the show per se, but I'm sure it was amazing.
Yep.
Shout out to Tola, absolutely an amazing woman. Not only an author, but a fantastic coach. And so gifted. She's a verse where it comes to the Afrobeats music scene as well. So I'm not sure if that's all been introduced already.
Yep.
Yes, it has, Martin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you want to answer a
Fantastic.
question?
I would, yeah, for sure. But I don't know what kind of questions have been asked already. So I'm not sure.
Just fire a
if I'm gonna-
question. Any question that you want to ask, fire it.
Okay. Well, let's see. Where can I go? Her book is absolutely phenomenal. The book Steps. If anyone that's been listening to the show or jumping onto it, definitely get a copy of Steps, because there's no book out there like it on this, the topic that it's addressing on co-parenting. Absolutely phenomenal. Whether you're experiencing it yourself or you know someone else experiencing it, it's definitely the book to go to. I guess my question might be, let's see. Mental health. If I don't know if that's been dealt with per se, but I've seen recently a talk show where they were talking about a couple who one of the spouses, one of the members, is dealing with mental health issues, and of course, where they're going through that, it means that the spouse is going through it as well because of their partner. I don't know if there's any experience in that category or that area that Tola might have experienced, and can probably speak to anyone that might be going through something like that, if that makes sense.
Are you talking about like in a step parenting setting or just in a normal
Yeah,
setting?
yeah. Either or either, both. But I guess maybe the step parenting setting,
Okay, I
because it
mean,
could be something that.
I haven't met anyone with that in terms of in a step parenting setting, but I think in this, like with mental health being a big, a big topic and mental illness being a big thing, it wouldn't just only be the spouses, it can actually also be the children. And I think it's worth doing a show, which I know DJ Purpose will be doing when it comes to mental health and trying to recognize and spot signs and things like that, because you could be dealing with a child that you think the child is reacting in a way, behaving a way because they don't like you and they don't want to listen to you. Whereas that child could actually have, something going on that needs attention drawn to it. So,
Great point.
yeah,
Great
so
point.
I think
Yeah.
yeah, it's that would now have to go into recognizing the signs, trying to spot the signs, having talks and things like that, because it might not always be the case. You do have to be a parent that at the same time is aware, and then even as spouses, you have to even be aware of each other, and when the pressure might be a lot for your spouse, the pressure of parenting not just their kids but now your children on top as well might be a lot, and you need to recognize certain things and be able to tell when that spouse might need a break, from it all. That spouse might need some time out, and that's for both. That goes for both, not just mum, but mum and dad.
Phenomenal. Absolutely right. Yeah, great point. I think that's huge. I think that's key and very relevant. And because technology and social media and AI and everything else is changing so rapidly, I'm finding, well, I feel like there are a lot of people that are not coping with it or adjusting to it so well, and that's also triggering a lot more mental health development.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely something that people are dealing with. Some are suffering in silence, but I feel like on a show like this where we can address it for those who can hear it and get access to it can be encouraged by the support and the strategies that are out there.
Yeah, I want to touch it from a part that you said as well, for the mental health part, because I'm going to speak about me as well from that part as well, because I was in a relationship and with the step parenting, it was very hard. I felt like that depression came on me because of not being accepted in the relationship. Is there time that we need to step out of that relationship because our mental health is really getting affected and we don't know what to do in this situation? And sometimes we don't even realize that we're going through like depression or mental health through this situation. Is there?
I wouldn't just say step out. I would probably say and get help as well. I think as Black people, we don't like to talk about, therapists, and having therapy and things like that. But it's not just people that are going through a tough time that need therapy. Even people that are successful need therapy, because you need therapy to be able to manage handling being popular or being successful, because there might come a day when you're no longer popular.
Yeah.
And how do you cope with that? I know young people that they thrive when they put a post and they get 200, 300 likes. And then another day they put a post up and they only get 30 likes. And all of a sudden they think, nobody likes me, what's going on? And they start to feel down. So I think, we shouldn't be afraid to, obviously seek help or speak to someone, speak out. And even if you don't want to speak to a therapist, find somebody that you can actually speak to and offload on. Because if you don't want a therapist, they might be able to have access to some information that they can use to help you, or they might speak to a therapist on your behalf to see, how they can best help you. Because there will be some people that probably won't go to a therapist, but speak out and get help. It's not about sitting down there and going through it by yourself. There's some things that we were not built or designed to go through by ourselves. And that's why therapists exist and different things.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I really feel also to add to that, because your question was, should they get out of that situation? I feel like a lot of the times problems come up for individuals when they don't have the skill set to handle or manage a situation. And if they don't have that skill set, rather than seeking an escape, is there a way that you can seek the tools that can help you with regards to handling that situation or supporting an individual that's going through that situation?
I mean, they say if you want a successful business, look for people that are succeeding in business and speak to them. Find out what they're doing to succeed and then maybe implement it. And if you don't have certain tools when it comes to navigating your stepchildren, look for friends or people that that are having a very good, successful relationship, and ask them for some guidance, ask them for some things that they might need to do, because it might just be something very simple that you just need to adjust on or need to implement that you might not be, that changes the whole dynamic of that thing. And there are people that are doing it and getting it right, and there are people that are still on the journey, but there's some things that they're doing and they're seeing it's working. So speak to people. And one thing I love about social media now, there's so much information out there now. There's so much information, there's so many groups, and even those groups are putting out information, so they're things that you can actually learn. I was in a parenting group, and I saw a post that a parent had put up saying like their teen daughter is refusing to go to church. What should she do? And I saw some comments there, and people saying, not in my house, force her, like that kind of thing. She tell her she has to go, and things like that. And I thought to myself, that might not be the case. And I just put in the comment and I said, have a conversation with her and find out why she doesn't want to go to church, because you don't know why. Sometimes they're saying, I don't want to do something. There's a reason behind it. That's why I said, with my, if you want to know why a young person is doing what they do, ask them. They know the answer.
That's right.
They're the one doing it. So if you ask them and you're able to have that conversation, they will now tell you. She might, it might be that she goes to church with you, and where you're enjoying it and you're loving it, she's not taking anything in because she's not understanding what's being said. So every Sunday she's going, for her, it might just be, I'm just there, but I'm not getting anything. I'm not. And that could be just having a simple conversation with her can now change everything and change how you want to do things. And maybe find her somewhere that she does. She might not be saying, I don't want to go church ever again. She might just be saying, I don't want to go to that church. But until you have a conversation, you won't know what to do. So a lot of people, they're saying, well, she has to. In my house, we didn't have that choice. And, but we're not parenting the way that we were parented. Because you find that a lot of our children will tell us, well, that was back in your day. And yes, it was back in our day. A lot has changed. Back in my day, we didn't even have social media. We were using typewriters in school. So I can't now start to compare my day to their day now. We didn't have ChatGTP. We didn't have AI.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So we can't be doing things how it was done in our day, because a lot has changed. So I think having those conversations and having that understanding back in our day, we weren't heard and we weren't seen so much. You say, can I have this? And your parent says, no, that's it. You've taken no as an answer. Now you tell your child no, and they're saying why? Because they want an explanation, it's different. So give them that explanation. And if they're saying they don't want to do something, have that conversation and find out why they don't want to do something. A lot has changed from our days.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
We grew up around pages, and phones that you could only text on at the most, if not make a phone call. Well, we had phone boxes, as a matter of fact, and those kind of things. Now they're growing up in a world where there's social media and things are live streamed and so on and so forth. The gatekeepers are few and far between now. So it's a very different time, but yet still we've, as the adults, have got to continue to grow and become wiser so we can know how to navigate these things and be a great support to these younger ones who need us, and if we don't make that connection.
I just want to touch on something that Manning said in the comments, where she said, on the plus side, there are some great step parents, and many of them end up being even closer to them than the biological parents. And that is so true. And I did say to DJ Purpose when we had a conversation before the show, I said to him, I said, because I am a hairdresser, so I used to do hair back in the days, one-on-one in my house. And I remember a statement that one of my clients said. And she said to me, she said, on her wedding day, she doesn't know who is going to give her away, whether it's going to be her biological dad or her stepdad. And that made me realize that she must have such an amazing relationship with her stepdad that it was now a choice thing, because she obviously didn't grow up with her biological dad, but she still has that relationship with him. But she grew up with her stepdad, and she has equally a relationship with him. And I said to her, that is how step parenting should be. I mean, I said to her, get them to both give you away. If you feel that way, get them to be whole. But that's the kind of things I want to hear when it comes to step parenting, what people say.
See, that's huge. That's huge. And that's also making, so for the listeners that are listening, they must be wondering, how am I on there so long? When I was on the show with you, talking about godparenting, I'm just as passionate about that role as well. So just hearing that question that the person has put in there, I feel overwhelmed when I'm hearing the same thing said about godparents. Like my godfather was there for me, or my godmother was there for me, so much so that and it's really just a testament to how important these people are taking these roles as a step parent, as a godparent. So listen, DJ Purpose, whenever you do a show on parenting, you've got myself for godparents, you've got Tola for step parenting.
Definitely.
Like we're your go-tos on those two subjects there.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I'll definitely be hitting you up for that one. Definitely be hitting you up for that one. But Mark, thanks for coming on.
Tola, I love you. Well done.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll be listening back to the beginning of the show.
Definitely, Frank. Appreciate your support all the time. I just want to go to one quick question in the chat. I know we spoke about this, but maybe they came in a bit late. Do you want to just quickly touch back on that for them?
Which one?
This one here. How do you deal with your step parents not cooperating with you?
Well, if they're not cooperating with you, then they're cooperating with your partner. So you allow your partner to do the cooperating until they come around.
Yeah.
You cannot force it. You cannot force it. If the ex does not want to have any dealings with you, you cannot force it. Your relationship is with that child, and it's to the child. Hopefully by the time the child is going home and telling the parent what an amazing person you are and how you did this and how you looked after them, and whatever it is that you're doing for them, it will warm them over. But they don't have to like you straight away.
And you know what? I was listening to a preaching sermon, and the preacher was talking about step parent and stuff. But he also touched on the part where he said maybe the child's going, maybe say to the dad's house, and then the dad's feeding, for example, I'm just going to use the dad. I'm not saying necessarily the dad, it could be a dad, it could be the mum, who's forcing bad information into the child's head and telling them, you don't have to listen to them. You don't have to do what he says or what she says. And then the child coming back now and misbehaving in the house because of what the other parent is saying. But I also heard a person say that it's good to have a conversation if your partner allows you with that partner to say to the dad or to the mum, I'm not here to take your space. I'm here to love your child and I respect you as a person, but I'm not here to step into that place of your place. I'm not here to take your place.
Yes.
Should that be something that they do as well, to have that, to build that relationship with that parent?
I think if you're communicating, it's not so much going to be a problem, because if you have communication with the other parent, you're discussing the child and things like that. So you're having that communication, and then they understand that. I think if the other parent feels like you're trying to, they'll have a problem sending their child over, and they might start making excuses. But I think it's co-parenting for me is not just about me and my husband. Co-parenting is me, my husband, and the other parents.
And the other parents, yeah.
Yeah, it involves all of us. And when you can get to that stage, it's a beautiful stage to be at. It's a beautiful stage to be at, but it might require work, because you're dealing with people, and people have emotions, people have feelings, and people, take time to adjust sometimes. So it's definitely worth working on. And even what you said about the child they might be being fed stuff from, the other, when they go and then bringing it. That's why I say it requires wisdom. It requires wisdom, because you'll get an indication that that's what's going on, and then you apply wisdom with how to deal with it. Because that child, if that child is being told you don't have to listen when you go over there, and then you find that child's not listening, and then you now come to the realization that they're probably being told that from the other. You're not going to now just go in and say, well, you have to listen to me and things like that. You might take a totally different approach, and then you find that you've won that child over. That child is now listening to you, because what they're being told from the other side, they're not really seeing that from you. That's why I say it requires wisdom, and the approach that you would take with that child can be totally different. If you're finding that the child's not listening to you, and everything you're saying to the child, they're not paying attention, they're not listening because that's what they've been told, then you might not tell the child to do stuff that they have to do. So you might take a different approach, and, you start saying to the child, okay, what would you like to do today? Rather than telling them what would you like to do today? And then the child's thinking, oh, you're asking me. Well, can we go to, because now you're asking the child and they're excited about something. Can we go to, yeah, sure, let's go. And then you find as you're going, you're saying to the child, okay, do you want to go and they're now listening to you because they want to go and get the popcorn, or they want to go and get like that. So I'm saying, that's why I say it requires wisdom. And then the approach that you take, you find that you've won the child over. The child's been won over without even realizing it. Now they're coming over. Anything that you're saying, they're doing because they know that it's like a partnership that they have with you now. They're doing stuff and you're asking them what they want to do. And yeah, it just changes the dynamics of things. So you have to be wise, and that's why I say it requires a lot of wisdom.
A lot of wisdom, definitely a lot of wisdom. But we're coming near the end of that show now. But I'm gonna ask you the final question, and I did tell you, I'm gonna tell the
As long
audience.
as
I
it's
did
the
tell
final,
you.
yes.
It's the final question now. You know the question I'm gonna ask you. Usually I don't tell people, but I told you. I'll give you a little bit of heads up. So the question is, if you can host a table of one person, living or passed away, who would that person be and why? And it has to be a black person.
That person would be Clovelyn, because she's my bestie and she is full of so much wisdom. And yeah, it would be her, because I would just be gleaning off her wisdom constantly, continuously. And yeah, and we did that before the start of the show, and she's the one that's been asking so many questions. But yeah, it would be her. It would be her over and over and over again, because yeah, we have some conversations that, yeah.
Wow.
They are conversations that I totally love and enjoy. So it would be her.
Empowerment conversation. So it's good to surround yourself around the right people. I always say that. It's always important. Even in relationships, even in co-parent and stuff, to have the right person that when you're telling that what you're going through, that they're giving you the right information. Because some people will give you some bad information and just ruin your life. But I just want to thank you. It's that time now for coming on to the Just Talk Black show. I would have to get you back on, as I said before. And I know Martin wants to jump aboard on the co-parenting and stuff. So I'm going to have to bring him on that at all as well. So I just want to say a big thank you for coming on the Just Talk Black show today. Really do appreciate it. And I will be getting in contact with you because this show has been fantastic. I love it. Thank you very much for participating in the Just Talk Black show today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's okay. So that's it, guys. That is the Just Talk Black show for today. If you are out there, please do subscribe to the channel. We need your help to push this out there, guys. We need your help. Please, please, please quickly get your likes in. Let's push the likes up as much as possible as we can, guys. So quickly push those likes up, and please, if you are new, subscribe. This is where the black community can air anything they are going through your testimony. If you got a black-owned business, this is the place for you to be. And if you want to be on the Just Talk Black show, and there is my number right at the bottom, I will just repeat out for you. It's 07471 539 533. If you want to be on the Just Talk Black show, give me a call and we can discuss on how we can get you on to this Just Talk Black show. So guys, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on to the Just Talk Black show. And please, next week, Thursday, I'm going to bring it up quickly for those who maybe came in a bit late. This is a discussion that we are going to be touching on, guys. Next week, I know it says Sunday, but it will be next week, Thursday. We changed the date until Thursday. So we will be talking about living with HIV. Living with HIV, guys. This is a conversation that we are going to be having on the Just Talk Black show. So it's that time to end the show. Thank you for everybody who participated in the chat. I really do appreciate everybody who's been on today. And for the new listeners, thank you for participating. And for all the callers who called in as well, thank you for calling in to the Just Talk Black show.
Big love to everyone tuning in. To every voice, every vibe, every black soul shining. This one's for you. Thank you for riding with the Just Talk Black show. We started with a mic and a dream. Now your love makes a vision be. Every like, every share, every view means the world. We honor you. You stay locked in week by week, giving power to the words we speak. This is more wanna show us the truth, so we give this back to you. Thank you for the love, we feel that vibe, we feel that vibe, feel that vibe. You lift us up and keep us alive. Stay alive, stay alive. From the heart of the block to the global flow, let them know, let them know. Thank you for riding with Just Talk Black Show. Yeah, big respect to the fam who stay through the laughs, the tears, the moves we make. You are the reason we grow and glow. Thank you for tuning to Just Talk Black Show. Black Show. We talk black, we talk bold, but it's you that keeps the story told. When you come in, call in and vibe, you bring this whole thing to life. From black businesses to rising stars, we're shining bright cause you play a part. No matter where you're watching from, you are the heartbeat of this drum. Thank you for the strength, for the love you show, cause love you show, love you show. You're the fire, so, so close, so glow. One voice, one love, one flow. Let it flow, let it flow. Thank you for watching the Just Talk Black Show. You clap back, you lift up your right. Together we stand in black pride. No matter the topic, people lie. You're the reason we shine so bright. We see you, we feel you from every screen. We're grateful to every click, every time you show. This love is real, it's Just Talk Black Show. Thank you for the love, yeah, we feel